What's going on, YouTube world and YouTube tribe? Welcome back to LilBigMan. Got me bringing you a review for Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. So this Monday Night Raw, they said that after WrestleMania, the Monday Night Raw was supposed to return to having spectacular storylines and be a really good show, right? Well, I'm about to tell you if it truly was. So, they started off with a Cody Rhodes promo. Cody Rhodes came out and basically explained to why he came back to WWE. He said that he came back because he wanted to achieve something that the Rhodes family has not achieved in the WWE. And that the speculations about was it hard for him to choose to come back to WWE was false. He said that the decision was pretty much simple. That he wanted to come back, like I said before, come back to achieve what they haven't, and that's this. He wanted to come back and be a champion, and not just any champion. He wants to be the WWE, which they now call the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. So, and that I get to that more in a bit too, but it looks like from what I can tell, like Roman Reigns is going to be carrying two titles around. They're not going to have like one belt. They're not going to retire one belt and another. So what makes me think that they're not really going to do away with having two champions. They're just going to, for right now, have one champion. We have to wait and see. But yeah, back to Cody Rhodes. So Cody Rhodes basically said that that's what he wanted. He talked about his father and how his father had a championship match, and he won that match, but he won it via countout. And Cody said, being young, and not understanding how the rules of WWE works, he said he realized that his father said when winning by countout means that even though I won, I don't get to be the champion because unfortunately, the only way to become champion is by paying a submission when it's a championship match. So he said that's why he's here. He's here to achieve the ultimate goal and bring finally the prestige that's been denied to the Rhodes family. And he said even though he can't win the title and gift it to his father as he wants to, he said he could put it around instead of being able to crown the American Dream WWE champion. WWE Undisputed. I'm not going to say the whole title, but you get the picture. Instead of saying that, he said he could damn sure put the title around the waist of the American Nightmare. This will bring out, I say Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. This will bring out Seth Rollins, who basically came out and did his whole stint, whoa. He did his whole little stint. He had the crowd chanting with him and or singing along with him, and then Cody Rhodes, instead of them having like a little back and forth, Cody Rhodes just threw the microphone and said, his hand for a handshake. And then Seth Rollins took a minute, he pondered, doing his little pondering, and then he shook Cody Rhodes' hand, laughed, and said, welcome home. And then left. And that was all you saw of Seth freaking Rollins. And then we go to the first match of the night, which was, let me see, Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Now, this was an interesting one. This was interesting because, not because of the match itself, it's the storyline they was telling, though. Now, granted, they've been telling breakup storylines. They've been doing it with Carmella and Queen Zelina. More on that later, but they did it here. This was a quick, not a long match. This was a quick one. This was like maybe a 5-6 minute match at best. But it was a match where the winners came out as obviously Sasha and Naomi. But the story that they told here was that Rhea, when once Naomi and them left, Liz tried to go talk to Rhea, and Rhea just basically like walked past her and just like she was angry. And this will play out later on when you find out that, Liv's like, hey, I've been looking for you. I've been trying to find you everywhere. And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for my actions earlier, but the reason why you couldn't find me because I was talking to Adam Pearce, and I talked to him to giving us a shot at the I was about to say SmackDown. That's why I kept saying so many times. I was about to call it the Raw and SmackDown, the Women's Tag Team Championships. Though I think this is a little deceit. This might be a trick to have Liv come out thinking she about to have a match for the tag team titles, the women's tag team titles, but then it might just actually be a match between them two because Rhea's probably going to turn heel. It's most likely Rhea about to turn heel at either next week. Yeah, I'll say next week because it seems like they try to paint the growing frustrations of not winning the big ones anymore. So it's like they're about to turn her heel to probably give her breathe new life into her character. So we get on to in the middle of that, I forgot. I went on so far into the episode, I forgot that when Rhea was walking away, Kevin Owens came out for his promo, and he basically talked about how he basically about WrestleMania and how he was wrong about Stone Cold, but then he boosted himself up saying that Stone Cold is still great, but you gotta be great to beat one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And he begins to disrespect the crowd, and then all of a sudden Ezekiel come out, which is just Ezekiel for those who try to figure out who is this new character. Ezekiel, no, Ezekiel is just Elias. I guess this is Elias' new gimmick. He got new ring gear, new gimmick. Now he's going by the name of Ezekiel, and he said he's not Elias, that he's Ezekiel. He's Ezekiel, who is Elias' younger brother. I don't know where they going with this. He frustrated Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens gave him 10 minutes to get out the ring, and 10 seconds to get out the ring, and he counted down all the way to 1. And then Kevin Owens just left, leaving Elias in the ring by himself. Ezekiel. And then we would get the second match of the night, which was Dominic Mysterio versus The Miz. And this was a quick match. This match was literally probably like 2 minutes. And that's probably the reason why I'm saying this was the worst match of the night. This was a squash match where Miz won in 2 minutes after having a good match at WrestleMania. Here, Miz just won in 2 minutes. Like, they did a couple of things, and then Stone Crushing finale, and boom. I'm guessing this is the end of Miz's feud with the Mysterios, because out will come Veer, and Veer, who finally makes his debut, he attacks, because the Miz took off running, he attacks Dominic and Ray, which will set up a match between them next week. They announced this like at the end of the show, but it was basically going to be Dominic Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. It's going to be Rey Mysterio versus Veer with Dominic Mysterio ringside. But the Miz won this match, and Veer beat up everybody. Well, everybody except the Miz. Bianca Belair came out, did her promo. It was funny how they kept going on and off like a match promo. And they continue this throughout the whole night. Is a match and a promo. I don't think there's actually been 2 matches that follow each other. I'm trying to see. No, that continues. That's how the dynamic was. It was a match, then a promo, then a match, then a promo. Not too many backstage segments, but it was that's how it was. So Bianca Belair came out and she basically talked about winning and persevering, having taken everything that Becky threw at her, and she took off her glasses to reveal that she has a horribly black and swollen eye. If you don't know how she got that, in her match with Becky Lynch, if you remember at WrestleMania, if you haven't seen it, basically Becky Lynch looked like she was going for like a one of those like flipped into a hurricanrana. Like she flipped off the top rope and it looked like she was supposed to get caught and do a hurricanrana or something like that, or something to that effect. But instead, when she flipped off the top rope, her foot came down, boom, like that on Bianca's eye. And you thought, at first I thought it was just like, okay, this was supposed to happen. But then when they showed it in slow motion, I was like, oh no, she really did hit Bianca in the eye. And you could tell it was starting to swell and set. By the time she won the match and she held up the title, she was basically like this, she was basically like this, raising up the title at the end of her match. So, and then you saw that it was still swollen. Pretty bad. But yeah, she talked about persevering, taking everything that Becky had, and that even though with one eye she's going to be a fighting champion, she's going to defend. We will get to the next match, which was Braun Breaker versus Dolph Ziggler for the NXT Championship, which I thought was weird. Did you have an NXT Championship match on Raw? What is going on with that? Okay. And then it was weird because Braun Breaker won, and because it's now your new NXT champion. It was like, it was a good match. Don't get me wrong. It was just weird to have an NXT Championship match on Raw and have Braun Breaker defeat him and become champion. And I was telling somebody that's how they usually do when it comes to WrestleMania. I'm in this wrestling group chat, and I was telling them like Roman Reigns might lose the title the next time he defends it because they usually do that, and they didn't do it for Roman obviously because he didn't defend the title tonight, but Dolph Ziggler did, and he won that stand and deliver. So tonight he lost the title, and now is not a champion anymore. So that's why I was trying to tell people Roman might have won, but I think he might be on the verge of losing. Like maybe I could be wrong. He might not lose in his next match title defense, but he will lose it eventually. I guarantee before this year is out, he's going to be he's going to have lost that title. But I'll digress. We got Bobby Lashley promo basically came out and talked about how he how he had to persevere to defeat Omos. And that that he's proud of himself for pushing through. He came out. He had a babyface entrance, and he was dapping the crowd up and stuff. He had a babyface entrance, which means I knew this part was coming. So, with the babyface entrance and talking like a babyface, Omos came out, basically demanding a rematch, and MVP had the mic and said, "Oh, Omos wants you heard that? The Goliath Omos wants a rematch." And as Bobby and Omos are facing each other, Bobby gets attacked from behind by MVP, who turns on Bobby. Bobby, he's hitting Bobby, beating up on Bobby. Said, "You don't need me. You don't need me." And he had Omos to finish him off. And that's now Omos and MVP. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I think I'm about to sneeze. It was trying to come out. Yeah, but Bobby Lashley and still trying to come out. Bobby Lashley, I got it. Bobby Lashley is now officially a babyface, and Omos is now aligned with MVP. Then we got the next match, which was supposed to be Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler, but the match was never happened because Queen Zelina stopped them from coming out, and basically got the trash talking Carmella, saying it was Carmella's fault that they lost the women's tag team titles, and they began to brawl, which means the match never happened. So instead, the next match ended up being RK Bro versus and Finn Balor versus the Usos and Austin Theory, who had a backstage segment trying to basically get Austin Theory focused, messing with him about his loss at WrestleMania. The match was okay. The only thing I question is you had Finn Balor lose twice to Austin Theory. Like, he's just been losing to Austin Theory. Like, He cannot have. It's like they just keep making him put Austin Theory over, and he's lost. And that's who pinned Austin Theory. Hit his finisher on Finn Balor, and pinned Finn Balor. So basically, I'm guessing they set him up to be the next United States champion. Get my notes here right. So then we got the Edge promo, and Edge basically talked about how he's a man of his word. He delivered the fight, and how AJ delivered himself, and that they both delivered what they was promised, but that Damien Priest he knew Damien Priest had an epiphany, and that he believed in his words, and then he brings out Damien Priest, who both of them talk about basically the fact that how they had to change and stop fighting their inner self and became their inner self. And Damien Priest basically revealed that's why he aligned himself with Edge, because he stopped fighting his inner self. And he said on the same day that Edge stopped fighting his inner self and found his new self, that was the same day that Damien Priest decided to stop fighting his inner self as well. And that they're now in this new stable together. This will bring out AJ Styles, who was not in the talkative mood. He just went straight up to Damien Priest and then Edge, but then they would get the upper hand, hitting like a spear leg sweep like combo. Almost get ready to hit him with a concerto after AJ Styles tried to hit Edge with a concerto. And they were that would be the end of that segment. We would get the next match, which would be the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy. Great match. Don't have nothing bad to say about it. Street Profits came out on top. And then Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns came out basically holding both titles. You can see that his shoulder is still bothering him. So we got to see if that even going to play into a factor. Because he probably won't have a match for a while now, because they probably don't want him to recover. They don't want to have to take the title off of him, but they want him probably to recover. But if his recovery is like Finn Balor's, they probably most likely going to relinquish the title. But yeah, he just basically came out and instead of telling the crowd to acknowledge him, he had Paul Heyman run down a list of accomplishments and told him that he too, like Edge was saying, he too delivered on his and called his shots, and that he told you that he was going to smash Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and that's what he did. And he said that they're progressive. They want to move forward and talk about what's next for them on SmackDown. And he told the crowd to acknowledge him as Raw went off the air. Overall, this episode of Raw wasn't bad, but it just had a lot of question marks. A lot of things I didn't agree with. I didn't agree with the whole. I think the only thing I didn't like was the Miz match. Yeah, I didn't really care about the tag team, the women's tag team match with Sasha and them at the beginning. But I would give this a 7 out of 10 big up, just because the crowd was very into it. This was a good crowd for a Raw after Mania. But let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode of Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. And if you enjoyed this video, then you can hit that button right there in the upper right corner for all of my WWE review videos. And if you enjoyed this video so much you want to support the channel, all you gotta do is hit that like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bar, do all those great things, because it lets me know you want to see more videos like this. And hit any one of these videos for more amazing content. Peace.